When I woke up in the hospital, I started feeling a lot of pain. And then that's when I realized I could have been dead.
You're about to see footage that nobody was supposed to see. A hospital room in Atlanta. Young Thug standing over a hospital bed. And in that bed, covered in bandages with a neck brace holding his head steady, is YSL Woody. The same man who testified against Thug. The same man the streets have been calling a snitch for years. And here's what's got everybody talking. Rumors are spreading that Thug's own crew might have had something to do with how Woody ended up in that hospital bed in the first place. So what really happened between these two brothers? Why is this footage surfacing now? And what does it reveal about loyalty, betrayal, and survival in the hip-hop game? Stay with me, because this story goes way deeper than you think. August 31st, 2025. 9 p.m. Peter Street in Atlanta's Castleberry Hill neighborhood. This is where the real Atlanta lives and breathes, where the nightlife never stops and the streets always have eyes watching. But on this night, those streets witnessed something nobody expected. YSL Woody on a dirt bike, no helmet, high speed, and then the crash. The kind of crash that makes you wonder if someone's going to survive. Witnesses rushed over and found Woody motionless on the pavement, blood everywhere, life hanging in the balance. But here's what makes this even darker. Before anyone called for help, they pulled out their phones. They started recording, splashing water on his face, making sure they captured every second for social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Within hours, millions of people watched this man fighting for his life. Accounts were posting the footage everywhere and the internet exploded. Later, Woody would say something that should shake all of us. He said the police officers who arrived showed more sympathy and humanity than the people recording him with their phones. Think about that. The cops cared more about saving his life than regular people did. Everyone else just wanted content. They wanted views. They wanted to go viral. And while they were chasing clout, a man was dying right in front of them. Woody said he doesn't even remember getting on the dirt bike. He woke up in the hospital feeling every bit of pain in his body, and that's when it hit him. He could have been dead. His last moments could have been people recording him instead of saving him. But the crash itself isn't why this story blew up. It's what happened next. The rumors started immediately. People weren't just concerned about Woody's health, they were asking questions. Was this really an accident? Did someone from YSL order a hit? Was this payback for Woody testifying against young Thug? And given everything that's happened between these two over the past 3 years, those questions actually made sense. The streets were buzzing with conspiracy theories, and honestly, you couldn't blame them. Because the history between young Thug and YSL Woody is one of the most twisted, complicated, and tragic stories in modern hip-hop. Let's go back to where this all started. May 9th, 2022. That's when prosecutors dropped a bomb on the hip-hop world. Young Thug, born Jeffrey Williams, along with 27 of his associates, got hit with RICO charges: racketeering, gang activity, murder, attempted murder, drug trafficking. The prosecutors weren't just coming after a rapper. They were claiming that YSL, Young Stoner Life Records, the label that gave us hit after hit, wasn't really a music company. They said it was actually Young Slime Life, a criminal street gang affiliated with the Bloods. They claimed YSL had been operating as a criminal enterprise since 2012, hiding behind record deals and platinum albums. Young Thug was facing 8 charges: RICO conspiracy, participation in criminal street gang activity, drug possession, gun possession. If convicted on everything, he was looking at potentially life in prison. The prosecution built their entire case on one strategy. They needed someone from the inside, someone who knew the secrets, someone who could testify about the connection between YSL, the label, and the streets. That's where Kenneth Copeland comes in, YSL Woody. He wasn't just some random associate, he was in the mix. He knew people, he knew stories, and he had his own legal troubles. Federal conviction in 2018 for being a felon with a gun. Arrested again in 2021 for the same thing. 11 prior convictions stacking up. The prosecution offered him something he couldn't realistically turn down: full immunity, testify against young Thug, and nothing you say can be used against you. No matter what crimes you admit to, you walk free. This immunity deal became controversial immediately. Critics said it gave Woody every reason to lie, to tell prosecutors whatever they wanted to hear, to create a narrative that would lock Thug up regardless of truth. Supporters argued this was the only way to get inside information on a powerful organization that had been untouchable for years. Who was right? That's still being debated. What we do know is that when Woody finally took the witness stand in June 2024, nobody was prepared for what was about to happen. Before he even testified, Woody tried to back out. June 7th, 2024. He invoked his Fifth Amendment rights and refused to talk, even though he had immunity. Judge Glanville held him in contempt and sent him to county jail for the weekend. When they finally got him on the stand, they asked basic questions to establish his identity. Simple stuff. How old are you? Woody looked at the prosecutor and said, "I'm grown." That's when everyone in that courtroom realized this wasn't going to be a normal trial. This was going to be something nobody had ever seen before. Woody fired his attorney right there on the witness stand. Just told the judge she's fired. I don't want her. He claimed he had hearing problems and vision issues, called himself special needs. He dodged questions. He gave vague answers. He contradicted himself. It was like watching someone perform for the cameras while the prosecution's case started crumbling in real time. Then came August 12th, 2024. The day that changed everything. Woody admitted under oath that he lied to investigators. Not about small details, about major accusations. He told them back in 2015 that he picked up specific people the night Donovan Thomas, known as Big Nut, was murdered. He implicated them. He built a whole story connecting them to the killing. And now, sitting in front of the jury, he said it was all made up. He admitted he lied to clear himself out of a situation. He created false testimony to save his own skin. The prosecution's star witness just destroyed his own credibility in front of everyone. Why did he lie? It came down to ego and hurt feelings. Young Thug had mentioned him in a 2015 song called Halim. The lyric was, "Lil Woody pull up and pop at his noggin." That line bothered Woody so much that he was willing to give false testimony that could have sent Thug away for life. Not because Thug was actually guilty of what Woody accused him of, because Woody's pride was hurt by a rap lyric. Let that sink in. A man almost went to prison for life because of a bar in a song. Woody also admitted that same day to shooting up Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop back in 2014. But here's the key part. He made it clear this was a personal beef. It had nothing to do with YSL as an organization. It wasn't gang activity. It was individual drama between people who happened to know each other. This was crucial because it proved the defense's entire argument. Everything the prosecution was trying to frame as organized criminal gang activity was really just personal conflicts. Street beef, individual decisions, not some coordinated criminal enterprise. Throughout his testimony, Woody kept saying YSL was never a gang. He said, "You can call me a gang member from another set, but you can't say I was a YSL gang member because YSL was never considered a gang. Y'all are making it a gang." Those words carried weight, because if the prosecution's own star witness is saying the central claim of the case is false, what does that say about the entire case? The trial finally ended on October 31st, 2024. Young Thug walked out of jail. He took a plea deal, time served, 15 years probation, no murder convictions. Other co-defendants like Yak Gotti and Shannon Stillwell were found not guilty of murder and RICO charges in December 2024. After years of legal battles, after millions of dollars spent, after dragging these men through the system, the prosecution failed to prove what they set out to prove. Young Thug was free, and you'd think that would be the end of the story. You'd think after everything after Woody's testimony basically helped get Thug out, there would be some gratitude, some mutual respect, some acknowledgement that they'd both survived something terrible. But that's not what happened. What happened next tore apart whatever was left of their relationship. August 2025. Leaked jail calls started surfacing online. Recordings of Young Thug talking to people from behind bars. In one call with 21 Savage, Thug went off on people he felt had betrayed him. He called out Gunna for cooperating with prosecutors. Said Gunna told the jury that YSL was a gang and that people in the organization committed crimes. Thug was furious. He felt stabbed in the back by people he considered family. But here's where things got complicated. Young Thug's own 2015 interrogation video was out there. Footage of him talking to police about the Lil Wayne tour bus shooting, allegedly discussing Pee Wee Roscoe's involvement. On that tape, Thug said, "They said Roscoe, but I don't want to block out yours case by saying Roscoe ain't do that." So the man who was criticizing others for talking to police had his own history of cooperating when it benefited him. Pee Wee Roscoe tried to defend Thug publicly, said Thug was clean as Listerine, claimed the interrogation was just Thug deflecting and not really giving information. But the internet had the footage, people could watch it themselves, and YSL Woody was paying attention to all of this. He watched Thug call other people snitches while Thug's own cooperation was being exposed, and Woody decided he wasn't staying quiet anymore. September 2025. Woody went live on social media multiple times, and he didn't hold back. He called out young Thug directly, said Thug knew better than to get on the internet starting drama, said Thug let Pee Wee Roscoe get online calling people rats when Pee Wee was the one who actually got Thug caught up in the first place. Woody was done playing defense. He was going on the offensive. Then young Thug's diss track leaked, a song called Closing Arguments. Thug went at everyone, Gunna a rat, Yak a rat, Sluga a rat, Woody a rat. He was cutting ties with everyone he felt had betrayed him, burning every bridge. But Woody's response hit different. He didn't just make a diss track back. He revealed something personal, something vulnerable, something that completely shattered the image young Thug had built. Woody said that when Thug was locked up, he was scared, paranoid. That Thug would ask Woody to sit with him, to keep him company, to make him feel safe. Woody revealed that Thug was afraid of taking showers, scared the water would hurt him, that he needed Woody there for emotional support and protection. This wasn't just tea, this was Woody exposing that the street legend, the untouchable rapper, was actually a terrified human being who needed help. And now that same person was calling him a rat and cutting him off completely. Which brings us back to that hospital on August 31st, 2025. Back to Woody lying in that bed with a broken shoulder, cracked bones, stitches covering his head. When Woody woke up and felt all that pain, something shifted inside him. He realized he could have died. He realized that all the street drama, all the beefs, all the back and forth, almost cost him his life. And for what? For pride? For reputation? For loyalty to people who clearly didn't have his back when he needed them most? His management released a statement saying he was stable and expected a full recovery. They said God's work wasn't done yet. And from that hospital bed, Woody made a decision. He posted on social media about God protecting those who do the Lord's work, about praying and asking for forgiveness. This wasn't just another rapper posting religious quotes for likes. This was a man who had a near-death experience and realized he needed to change everything about his life. In September 2025, Woody did an interview with Fox 5 Atlanta. He announced he was stepping away from rap music completely. He said he was focusing on faith, family, and helping young people avoid the gang life that almost destroyed him. He talked about how people say they want to see you successful, but they really don't, because if they did, they'd help you say no to gangs and guns. He said he tries to reach every kid he sees out there because he knows what it takes to get their attention. He tells them what he wished someone had told him when he was their age. He said kids aren't making it to 18 years old anymore, and he wants to use his story to change that. Woody started talking about writing books, making documentaries, becoming an advocate against gang violence. This wasn't just a publicity move. This was a complete life transformation. A man who had been labeled the biggest snitch in hip-hop was now trying to use his pain and his mistakes to save the next generation from making the same choices. Meanwhile, young Thug was still out there maintaining beefs, still calling people rats, still trying to protect an image that had already been shattered. The contrast couldn't be more clear. The hospital footage that went viral wasn't just about two people in a room. It was a symbol of everything that's broken in hip-hop culture. The obsession with loyalty that's really just code for silence. The street credibility that requires people to destroy each other to maintain it. The cycle of violence and retaliation that never actually solves anything. Young Thug standing over Woody's hospital bed represented a moment where all of that came crashing down. Two men who were once brothers, now enemies, because of a system that chews people up and spits them out. Some people online speculated that the crash wasn't really an accident, that maybe someone connected to YSL had ordered it as payback for Woody's testimony. There's no evidence to support that theory, but the fact that people believed it was possible shows how toxic the situation had become. The streets were so full of distrust and violence that a conspiracy theory about a hit made more sense to people than a simple accident. Woody's injuries were severe, broken shoulder, cracked bones, concussion, cuts all over his head requiring stitches. His neck was damaged. His chest hurt so bad he said it felt like someone was standing on it. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional trauma. He had to face the fact that his reckless behavior was hurting the people who loved him. His girlfriend was pregnant with their second child, and he almost left her to raise those kids alone. He had been given so many second chances in life, and he kept throwing them away for the streets. This crash forced him to finally wake up. He said in an interview that when he woke up in the hospital, he didn't see it coming. He didn't have any warning. He just woke up in pain, and that scared him for the first time in his life. He realized that if he wasn't putting good into the universe, he wouldn't have pulled through. He started praying and thanking God because he understood this was a gift, another chance to get it right. Not everyone gets that. Most people don't survive crashes like that. But he did, and he decided not to waste it. The leaked hospital footage with young Thug shows a complicated moment. Some people see it as Thug checking on someone he used to care about. Others see it as Thug making sure Woody knew he was still watching. The truth is probably somewhere in between. These are two people with years of history, brotherhood, betrayal, legal battles, public feuds. All of that doesn't just disappear because someone gets hurt, but it does force both people to confront what's really important. Young Thug got his freedom, but at what cost? He lost friends, lost trust. His reputation took hits from every direction. The leaked interrogation footage showed he wasn't the street legend people thought he was. The jail calls showed he was angry and bitter. The diss tracks showed he was still fighting battles that didn't need to be fought. Meanwhile, Woody lost his reputation in the streets but found something more valuable: peace, purpose, a reason to wake up that wasn't about proving himself to people who didn't really care about him. The story of Young Thug and YSL Woody isn't just about two rappers beefing, it's about what happens when street code collides with survival instinct, when loyalty becomes toxic, when keeping it real means keeping yourself in danger. Woody's hospital experience became the breaking point, the moment where he realized the streets would take everything from him if he let them: his health, his family, his life. And for what? To maintain an image? To avoid being called a snitch by people who weren't there for him anyway? The viral footage sparked millions of conversations online, people debating who was right and who was wrong, who snitched and who stayed solid. But those debates miss the bigger picture. The real question isn't who's the bigger snitch or who's more loyal. The real question is why we glorify a system that forces people to choose between self-preservation and destruction. Why we celebrate loyalty to the streets more than loyalty to family. Why we respect silence more than we respect saving lives. Woody's transformation isn't perfect. He still made mistakes. He still hurt people along the way, but at least he's trying to break the cycle. He's telling young kids to stay away from gangs, to put down guns, to choose life over death. That's more than most people in his position do. Most people just keep playing the same game until it destroys them completely. Woody saw the edge of that cliff and stepped back. That takes courage that doesn't get recognized enough. Young Thug is still navigating his new reality. 15 years of probation means one mistake could send him back. He's got restrictions on where he can go, who he can associate with, what he can say in his music. He's free, but he's not really free. And he's still holding onto grudges that don't serve him, still calling people rats, still trying to prove he's the realest. But what does that even mean anymore? Who is he trying to prove it to? The hospital footage will be remembered as a turning point. The moment when the mask slipped completely, when the performance of street loyalty couldn't hide the human pain underneath. Two men in a hospital room, one fighting for his life, one watching from above, both of them victims of a culture that eats its own children, both of them trying to survive in a game that has no winners, only survivors and casualties. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear. The old ways aren't working. The code of the streets is broken, and people like Woody who choose to walk away and try something different might be the only ones who actually make it out alive. The footage went viral because it represented something real. Not the performance of keeping it real, but actual reality. Pain, regret, consequences, and maybe, just maybe, the possibility of redemption. That's the story behind the footage. That's what really happened in that Atlanta hospital, and that's why the internet can't stop talking about it.